My wife called me while I was visiting friends. I'm divorcing you, and I've sold our business to start over with my new partner. She laughed. I replied calmly, "Good for you." When I got home, her cocky smile vanished when she saw. Chapter 1. The Call That Changed Everything. It was a warm Friday evening, and I was sitting around a fire pit with 3 of my oldest friends, beer in hand, laughter in the air, and for the first time in months, peace. My phone buzzed. Caller ID, Tessa, wife. Strange. We'd spoken earlier that day. Nothing seemed off. But I answered, "Hey babe, what's up?" Her voice was cool, calculated, amused. "Don't babe me, I'm calling to let you know I'm divorcing you. Effective immediately. Papers will be filed Monday." Silence. Before I could respond, she kept going. "And before you ask, yes, I've sold our business, fully. The buyer already wired the money. I'm taking my half and starting a new life. With Derek, my former business partner, a man I once called my best friend." She laughed. It was theatrical. Cold. "You should have paid more attention, Michael. You were always so busy with the numbers and systems. You forgot the woman beside you." My friends watched my expression carefully. I could feel the heat of the fire and the sudden icy weight of betrayal sink in. I sipped my beer, took a breath, and calmly replied, "Good for you." She paused, probably expecting anger, rage, desperation, but she got none of it. I hung up and quietly said to my friends, "I think it's time I go home." Chapter 2. The Smile That Died at the Door. I pulled into the driveway, headlights washing over the front of the house I'd built with my own hands. Every brick, every beam, every corner carried my sweat and sacrifice. Tessa stood on the porch, arms crossed, lips curled in a smug half-smile, wine glass in hand. Derek leaned against the railing beside her, dressed like he thought he owned the place already. "Back already?" she mocked. "That was fast. You didn't even beg." I looked her over once, then turned to Derek. "Good to see you again, partner," I said calmly. He scoffed. "You still think we owe you a conversation?" "Not really," I said, unlocking the door. "Just came to collect a few things." Inside, the house looked like it had been looted. My office was stripped. Our safe was wide open. She'd cleared out the joint accounts. Even my late father's watch, the one I kept in the study drawer, was gone. I returned to the living room. Tessa stood with her hip cocked, arms folded. "You're not going to cause a scene, are you?" I shrugged. "Why would I? You sold the business, right?" "Exactly. And the papers are clean. Everything's legally binding. I even have Derek's lawyer on retainer. Don't worry, you'll get your half. Eventually," Derek added with a smug grin, "assuming you don't blow it all crying into your beers." They both laughed. I smiled politely. "Right. One question, though." Tessa arched an eyebrow. "What? When exactly did you sign the sale contract?" She frowned. 2 days ago. Why?" "Interesting," I said, walking to the kitchen, grabbing a cold bottle of water and twisting off the cap. "Because 3 days ago I moved all intellectual property and software rights to my name. Quietly, legally, with full documentation. You sold a company shell." Her face dropped. Derek's smirk twitched. "What are you talking about?" she demanded. I pulled a folded document from my inner coat pocket and laid it gently on the counter. "This right here is a notarized transfer agreement. Our product, the software, the back-end systems, the analytics tool Derek bragged about, all mine. The buyer you just sold to, they're about to realize they paid for a house with no foundation." Tessa lunged forward, snatching the paper, scanning it with frantic eyes. This isn't possible. I would have seen it." I tilted my head. "No, you were too busy sneaking around with Derek." Chapter 3. A Meeting with the Millionaire. The next morning, I showed up at Price & Walton Holdings, the investment firm Tessa had sold our company to. Clean lobby, polished floor, cold air. The receptionist recognized me immediately. "Mr. Carter, Mr. Price will see you now." I was escorted into a sleek, glass-walled boardroom. There sat Gregory Price, The man who, just 2 days ago, thought he'd purchased a gold mine. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. "You're here about the acquisition." I nodded and pulled a leather folder from my briefcase. "Yes, I think you'll want to see these before your legal team finishes due diligence." His brow furrowed as he flipped through the documents. I'd prepared everything: the asset transfer, patent ownership, user licensing agreements, even the contracts confirming that the actual IP and backend belonged solely to me. As he turned the last page, his lips thinned. "So, what you're saying is, I bought a company with zero functioning infrastructure?" "Exactly," I replied. "All your newly purchased systems, codebase, analytics, customer data, engine access, they're all tied to licenses I now control." "And your wife didn't know this?" I smiled faintly. She was never interested in the legal side, just the finish line. Price leaned back in his chair, exhaling slowly. "Then I assume you're here to offer a solution." "I am," I said. "I'm willing to license the full IP back to you for triple the original purchase price." He arched an eyebrow. "Triple?" "Call it a tax on ignorance," I said calmly. "And betrayal." He tapped a pen against the folder for a long moment. "You're ruthless." "Just smart," I replied. "Something my ex underestimated." He leaned forward. "You've got a deal." Meanwhile, back at my house, Tessa and Derek were sipping mimosas, still basking in what they thought was victory, until her phone buzzed. Email from Gregory Price. "Terminating acquisition. Assets fraudulent. Your actions are under legal review. Expect our lawyers to contact you shortly." Then came the second. From IRS. "Your accounts are frozen pending investigation of suspicious business transfer activity." She dropped her phone. No. This isn't happening." Derek stared at her. "What did you do?" She grabbed the car keys and bolted. "I'm going to find him. Now." Chapter 4. The Final Conversation. She pounded on the glass walls of my new co-working suite like a storm, drawing stares from the others inside. "Michael, open the damn door!" I didn't. I let her rage while I calmly typed out the final clause in a licensing agreement with Price's firm, smiled at the receptionist, and then pressed the door unlock button. She stormed in. "What the hell did you do? You sabotaged everything. My accounts are frozen, the deal's falling apart, and Price's legal team is threatening me with fraud." I looked at her, really looked at her. Wild eyes, tangled hair, makeup smudged from tears she tried to hide. This wasn't the woman I married. That woman died the day she decided Derek was worth more than loyalty. "You sabotaged yourself, Tessa," I said coldly. "I just gave gravity a little help." She gritted her teeth. "You want revenge? Fine. You got it. But give me back something. Half the deal. My share of the company. Anything." I walked over to the filing cabinet, pulled out a sealed envelope, and handed it to her. "Here, this is what you're entitled to." She tore it open like it might save her life. But it was just a copy of the prenup. One she signed 5 years ago when she insisted she didn't care about money and just wanted us. There, in bold black ink, "Any business assets founded or developed by Michael Carter prior to or during the marriage shall remain his sole and undisputed property." She turned pale. This wasn't in the version I saw. "That's because Derek had the final draft removed from your view. I kept the signed copy, and made sure the notary had theirs filed, too." She staggered back. "You're lying." I stared directly at her. "Check with your lawyer." She opened her mouth, but no words came. Then came the knock at the door. 2 uniformed agents stood there with badges out. "Tessa Carter, you're being served. IRS and civil fraud proceedings." She looked at me, horror dawning. "You turned me in?" "No," I said with a bitter smile. "Your name was on the fraudulent sale contract, not mine." Chapter 5. The Collapse. Tessa tried to fight it, at first. She hired a new lawyer, then a PR firm, then a crisis consultant. But nothing could stop the momentum once the scandal went public. The business world loves success, but it feeds on betrayal. Screenshots of her emails with Derek leaked, thanks to an anonymous tip from someone inside her own inner circle. Conversations where she bragged about milking the idiot husband dry and flipping the company and the man like old furniture. They spread like wildfire across LinkedIn, Reddit, and business forums. One headline went viral. From CEO to cautionary tale, the woman who tried to steal a business and lost everything. Even Derek abandoned her. When Price's firm came after them for damages, he threw her under the bus, claiming she orchestrated the whole thing. She was left to face multiple lawsuits, a full IRS audit, and public humiliation. The life she tried to build off my back, crumbling. Her power couple fantasy with Derek, gone. The smug confidence, replaced by a haunted, hollow stare. Meanwhile, I rebuilt, quietly. Price's team offered me a consulting contract. I declined. Instead, I started a new venture. Leaner, smarter, mine alone. The licensing money I earned from my own company's IP set me up for life. But the best part? Peace. No more walking on eggshells. No more second-guessing loyalty. One evening, I sat at a local coffee shop, finalizing a proposal for a new partner. A real partner, Emma. Someone I'd met months earlier during a quiet tech convention. She was brilliant, grounded, the kind of person who never made me feel small to feel big. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Michael. It's me. Please, I'm lost. I have nothing. I made a mistake. Please. Just talk to me. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I calmly pressed block. Epilogue. I never saw her again. But sometimes people would mention a woman they saw waiting outside courtrooms, clothes faded, once beautiful eyes now dulled with regret. And sometimes at networking events, people would pull me aside and say, "Hey, aren't you the guy whose ex tried to steal everything and lost it all?" I'd just smile. No, I'm the guy who already knew what was coming and let gravity do the rest. Was this revenge perfectly justified? Tell us what you would have done in the comments below. Like the story, share it with someone who needs this energy, and subscribe to Lauren's story for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here, every lie has its reckoning, and every betrayal finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay strong, and stay tuned.